connected with the animals and plants and even the bugs where I lived. It was amazing. Like, I was so alone, but I was not alone. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was surrounded by living creatures. And I'm so grateful. Anyway, so my son is called Dylan in the book. I just changed his name for privacy's sake. After I take Dylan to his father's, it's a dark drive to the forest house. Dark enough to need the bright setting of the headlights. How much easier it would have been to move later when the days were long, when I could have driven home in the last of the light. But the dark has taught me things. For one, when you live in the country, the way home is much different by day than by night. By day, the way is clear. Even if the clouds have gathered on the Diamond Mountains, I can still sense the slope of them, their immense arc and presence. Diamond Fall Road unravels before me like a cast-off ribbon, and the cattle of Palmer Ranch arrange themselves in never-ending patterns upon the meadow. Then the forest begins, and like outliers, more and more pine and oak appear, closing in on the road. It's less than a mile to home. But in the country at night, the view disappears. No helpful streetlights guide the path home. If you walk down my road after dark, you better bring a flashlight. Context disappears too. The shape of the cottages down the side roads, the familiar horses vanish inside fences and corrals, the Appaloosa up on the hill invisible now as I round the fourth bend of the road. They're gone from sight. I could be almost anywhere. Perspective is gone as well.
Ashley, if you're still here, call me at 21, Ashley, 21.
On these dark drives, lights in faraway windows transport this land into another century. Now these scattered houses become far-flung outposts of the old frontier. On such drives home, for a while, I can lose myself. But nothing, not even the radio, can silence the echo of Dylan's words in my mind that he wants me to stay, that he will miss me. When I do leave, nothing can erase the image of my old house in the rearview mirror or the feeling that I've just left the scene of a crime. What makes me think I can escape punishment by listening to a song on the radio? Sometimes I do something crazy. It was a game we played as teenagers when I lived on the Oregon coast. In Tillamook County, long black miles of two-lane roads cut through dairy farm country overshadowed by the Cascades. Some of these roads ran straight for quite a while with no streetlights. Halfway down the road, whoever was driving would switch off the headlights. Instant, total blackness, and the sensation of hurtling into it. There was always a second of shocked silence, then screams of terror, of hilarity, of madness. It was like rushing towards death. Stupid things young people do. That was almost a lifetime away. Yet a few nights ago, on a stretch very much like that one so long ago, I turned off my headlights and flung myself into that blackness. The decision to do so reminded me of a line from a spy movie when the main actor shuts down his communication lines and he's on his own. The last thing he said was, "I'm going dark." How long were my headlights off? 3 seconds at most? Afterward, I pulled over to the side of the road to catch my breath, and in that great expanse of valley and mountain, my car sat tiny and unassuming as an extra button on a great flowing coat. I imagined my great-grandmother on the ocean crossing from Sweden, how vast the watery landscape and how small her body lying in her berth. Imagined her on that vessel riding the slope of each endless groaning wave, her ship left in November, and how cold the Atlantic would have been. All her girls left behind. Anyway, there's this backstory of my great-grandmother who had to give 6 of her kids away in Sweden. And I gained strength from her to leave my son because of what she had to go through. Anyway, that's a backstory. And this is the end here. The other day, Dylan was leafing through a book, and a picture fell out, one from a trip we took to Belize when he was 9 months old. I'm holding him in my arms, a round, creamy cherub, in a swim diaper against a lush tropical backdrop. A friend went with us on the trip, so I'm not sure who held the camera. Dylan looked at the picture a long while, asking all sorts of questions, all but the one I feared most. "Mama, but why did you leave?" How can I tell him that the trip was one of the saddest times of my life, that we came home early because his father and I were so unhappy? How can I explain that even in paradise you can be so lonely and cold that you feel like you could drown in the very air you breathe? Other nights after leaving Dylan, I have 2-3 glasses of wine. one after the other when I get home. After one very bad time, I drink a bottle and call my brother, whom I haven't talked to in months. I cry on the phone and he listens with quiet patience. As my words slur out, how embarrassed I am, how sorry. Our father died of cirrhosis after a lifetime of hard drinking. That drinking defined much of our childhoods and beyond. Our existence echoed with the clink of cans and bottles, was shadowed by the hazy half-light of bars. At 59, his body finally surrendered, and my brother and his wife took care of our father in the last stages. So how can I call him drunk and weeping and ask for solace? I try to tell him what is killing me, not just leaving my son these nights, but knowing that it is just beginning, that I will miss so much of his life, and that it will never, ever end. The price of leaving is this unbelievable pain. And worst of all, the terrible truth that given the choice, I would do it again. That phone call showed me the way it could go, a walk down that long, slow hill of alcoholism. At the bottom, it is dark and cold, but also blissfully numb, and what is left of me would live there. I know the path. It courses through the blood of my family. I've seen others go there, many others. Those who do aren't always able to shed that darkness. Most don't come back at all, like my father. A long time ago, I tried to figure out what led him to drink. What fear, what regret, what crimes did he try to wash away? This is my challenge now, to veer from that path, to be my own light, and if there's a higher power out there, to seek it too. I'm not alone after all. Decisions made now are shared with my son. I didn't leave my marriage so that he could have half a mother. For now, though, there's a bottle of wine in the cabinet next to a box of pancake mix. I bought it yesterday, a cheap Merlot. That's not too bad. You see, I still have a glass now and then, when Dylan is at his father's. It is uneasy company on moonless nights.